How's it going, Pokemon trainers? And welcome to our second Pokemon Go year in review. Once again, I'm joined by my brother Chris, and we're so excited to bring you another TogeTips year in review. How's it going, Chris?
It's going well, I'm happy to be on.
That's good, I'm glad to hear it. So this year was quite the year for Pokemon Go. We're still dealing with the pandemic, so a lot of play from home features are still active in the game. We also had our first whole year of Pokemon Go seasons, which was interesting to see how it shaped events and spawns. I'd also like to note that 2021 was a huge milestone for the channel, as it marks an entire year of TogeTips. So for this review, we'll be switching it up a bit. We have 6 topics to discuss today, including the season mechanic, this year's events, this year's community days, the Niantic situation from the summer, incorporating the 25th anniversary of Pokemon into Pokemon Go, and finally, we'll wrap things up with what we'd like to see in the new year. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so Chris, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Me too. So let's jump right into our review with Pokemon Go Seasons. Now this feature was introduced towards the end of 2020, but it didn't really take off until this year. For those who aren't familiar with the Seasons mechanic, basically it's a 3-month theme featuring certain Pokemon spawns, bonuses, and events. We started with the Seasons of Celebration, which was followed by the Season of Legends, Discovery, Mischief, and most recently, the Season of Heritage. So Chris, what have you thought of the Seasons mechanic so far?
I've actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I think each season brings something different to the table, and I enjoy the bonuses that they incorporate each season. For me, I think the Season of Mischief was my favorite, with a lot of cool Pokemon that tied into Hoopa's mechanics. And I like that we had a season-long research that kind of connected all the events involving Hoopa.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. Personally, I like the themes they've chosen so far, and I like the bonuses that they tied to each season. I think the extra raid XP from the Season of Legends, the extra raid pass from the Season of Discovery, and the guaranteed 1XL candy from trading for this season were the most helpful to players. In terms of my favorite season, I like the Season of Discovery the best. The extra XP for spinning Pokestops really boosted my level grind, and the 2 free passes towards the end of the season were also really useful during the Ultra Week raids. So that about wraps up our talk on seasons. Now let's talk about the events of 2021. In total, we had 47 in-game events this year, which is quite a lot. And this didn't even include the paid events like the Kanto Tour or Go Fest. Now this year had its fair share of good and bad events, and rather than go through every event, Chris and I have compiled our best 3 and worst 3 events of the year. So Chris, why don't you start us off with the worst 3 events of the year?
Sure, so starting things off, for the 3rd worst event of the year, we have the Psychic Spectacular back in September. This event was super safe, and as a result, it felt really bland. I definitely enjoyed the release of Inkay, but it seemed like the only exciting part of the event, with there being no new shinies, no bonuses, and no special moves either, and the field research tasks were also fairly boring. I would have loved to see some research tasks for rarer Pokemon like Esper or Chimico, but alas, another lukewarm event. Moving on to the 2nd worst event of the year though, we have Weather Week. It did have some great bonuses in the form of the additional weather boost Stardust, but unfortunately, the spawns were only average. I wouldn't say Pokemon like Surskit and Tailo are very exciting, and while we did get the debut of Rainy Castform's shiny form, it was quite hard to find one. It only spawned in rainy weather, and while you could find it in field research, those tasks weren't really too common. I think most of the event just left a sour taste in people's mouths. Hopefully though, if they do another Weather Week, it'll be better than this one. But for the worst event this year, we have the new Pokemon Snap celebration. I think this was a big letdown to have such a mediocre event for a brand new Pokemon game. Pretty average spawns plagued this event, which really stinks when the new game had anything but average Pokemon. It really only used the more basic Pokemon from new Pokemon Snap, but it could have utilized a lot more of the unique wild spawns, like some of the final evolutions in the game. Even if they were more rare, they could have made things more fun. Pokemon like Hippowdon, Sharpedo, and Tyranitar were all in raids, but I think it would have been really fun to see them in the wild too. Pokemon Snap is a Pokemon Wild Safari game after all. Also, Shiny Smeargle is a pretty nice addition, but making it a limited edition shiny like Meltan left many of us frustrated. You only had a set number of chances to get it, so if you didn't get one, you were just out of luck. So with that, I think the new Pokemon Snap celebration was the worst event of 2021. But now, you take it away, James, with the best events of the year.
Sure thing. So even though there were some really bad events out there were also some really great events in 2021. To be honest, it was kind of difficult to just pick 3, but we think that these were some of the best. So for number 3, we have the 2021 Valentine's Day event. This event featured a ton of pink and purple Pokemon and more. The regional Pokemon Illumise and Volbeat returned, which was nice for anyone that missed out on their shinies in 2020. We also got a free bundle containing 3 remote raid passes, which was a pretty nice gift. Latios and Latias were in legendary raids, and those are always fun to hunt, but if it wasn't your cup of tea, then you had 3 passes to save for a later boss. For our second favorite event, we chose the Hoenn Celebration. Basically, this event had a great variety of spawns and a lot of shiny eligible species. Kyogre and Groudon were also available in raids, and they're great options as raid attackers and Master League contenders. Plus, they have really awesome shinies. Not only that, but we also got a couple of exclusive moves this event. Metagross could once again learn Meteor Mash, and we also had access to a timed research that had a Rayquaza with the exclusive move Hurricane. All of these features made the Hoenn Celebration one of the best countdown events for the Go Tour Kanto. This brings us to our favorite event of 2021, and we both agreed that the number 1 spot went to the Ultra Unlock Part 1. This event featured Pokemon from all across time, so there were a lot of fossils, as well as Dialga in raids. Dialga is one of my favorite Pokemon, and this was the first time it was available in over 2 years. In terms of the new shiny releases, we got shiny Cranidos, Shieldon, and Dialga, which are all pretty desirable if you ask me. Usually these new shinies are only available in raids or eggs, but this time around it was available everywhere, so in raids, wild, field research tasks, and eggs, making it a very well-rounded event overall, and honestly one of my all-time favorite events we've had in Pokemon Go. Up next, let's talk about Community Days. So this year brought 11 unique Community Days to the ever-growing roster of Pokemon. This year we saw a variety from Machop to Swablu to the Unova starters and even Gible. So for me, I thought 2021 was solid in terms of Comm Days. We saw a lot of Pokemon receive PvP upgrades like Fletchling and Roselia. I also really enjoyed Gible Comm Day. I know how controversial this Comm Day was, but I thought it was great that the whole community had a chance to get this Pokemon. Plus, the addition of Earth Power made Garchomp an even better ground attacker. Now, in terms of my least favorite Comm Day, Duskull was a bit of a bust. I already had a couple of shinies, and the move Shadow Ball didn't really help Dusknoir either. So Chris, what did you think of the 2021 Comm Days overall, and which was your favorite and least favorite?
I definitely think there were some really good ones this year, with a lot of great PvP upgrades for several Pokemon, and I'm big into PvP, so this was great. For me though, I actually found Fletchling to be one of the most fun Comm Days this year. Funny that a regional bird was so exciting, but I love Talonflame, and it receiving Incinerate was awesome. But an honorable mention to Gible, where I got a Shundo. For the worst one though, I'm right up there with you. Duskull may be one of my favorite Pokemon, but Shadow Ball did nothing for Dusknoir, making the day feel like a real wasted opportunity.
That's true, plus a lot of people were hoping that Litwick would be the October Community Day.
That's very true.
Alright, so now we're going to transition to talk about the Niantic situation from this year. Out of the 5 years Pokemon Go has been around, 2021 was probably one of the roughest. Over the summer, Niantic removed the increased interaction distance for stops in gyms, which caused an outcry from Pokemon fans. These players also got a hashtag trending on Twitter in hopes that it would improve the overall communication with the Pokemon Go community. So Chris, let's just get into it. What did you think about the reduced Pokestop and gym interaction distance?
I really did find it to hinder my enjoyment of the game. There have always been stops and gyms around me that have been really hard to reach, some requiring you to get really close to others, something that just wasn't good during the pandemic. Gyms as well, with me and others often drifting out of the range for raids during raid hours and frustratingly getting kicked out. Many of these stops and gyms' points of interest were still accessible from the extended distances, so it just seemed like punishment overall.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, I wasn't a fan of it either. My biggest concern over the updates was the gym interaction distance for raiding. There's been many times that I've been in range of a gym for a raid, but when the battle begins, I get kicked for not being close enough. Once they increased the range to 80 meters, that issue seemed to dissipate even with GPS drift. I also think the pandemic bonus gave a lot of new trainers the ability to play. It helped a lot of players who were physically unable to reach stops in gyms, and decreasing the distance brought a lot of their journeys to a halt. At the same time, I was really hoping for some better communication from Niantic. Since the update, it's gotten better in some areas, such as the layout for news updates, but at the same time, there's been a lot of follies on their part. I think a big one was during the second Ultra Week when Shiny Heracross was released. It wasn't revealed until the event began that Heracross was pulled from the regions it spawned in. Yes, it made it so everyone had an equal chance of finding a shiny, but it should have been revealed weeks prior in the event announcement post. In regards to the developer diaries, while they provided some useful insight, I don't think it meets the criteria of what we were promised when they were first announced. I would have liked to see an option to submit questions for the Community Day diary, with the most popular questions being answered. There were also sections of the Season's diary that felt unnecessary, in particular, the designing of the artwork for the season. Not to mention that they hinted at the altering of the remote raid damage, which caused a flurry of frustration from the community. And while nothing's been confirmed on that aspect, Niantic hasn't addressed that concern whatsoever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the 2 diary posts that we've gotten so far seem more like promotional fluff than actual communication with us, so I really hope they up their game in the coming year.
Yeah, I hope so too. February's diary is probably going to have to do with the Johto Tour, as well as future paid events, so here's hoping for something really good on that. But on to our more optimistic topic, let's talk about Pokemon's 25th anniversary. As you know, 2021 was a big year for Pokemon, and they celebrated all year with in-game events, celebrity appearances, and merchandise such as the Pokemon Oreos released this fall. Were you able to find any, Chris? Because all the store shelves I checked were completely bare.
I didn't get any, but I did have a friend who found some, so I did get to experience a few.
No kidding, that's awesome. So what did you think of the 25th year celebration in Pokemon Go?
I think this year had its ups and downs for sure, but I think a lot of factors made this year special. One thing I found really cool was the amount of mythicals we saw this year. We saw Shiny Mew with the Kanto Tour, Meloetta with Go Fest, Zarude with the second Secrets of the Jungle event, and Hoopa's 2 forms with the Season of Mischief. We did have some hiccups in the bad events and Niantic's poor communication, but I still think they did a pretty good job with much of the year. Still though, here's to hoping next year is even better.
That's right. So speaking of next year, let's talk about our predictions for 2022. We had a jam-packed year in 2021, and I think that's going to continue into the new year. One of the big things I'm hoping for are more incense days. I'd also like to see more signature moves come into Pokemon Go. Chris did a discussion on the Gen 4 Creation Trio signature moves a while back, and I'd really like to see Roar of Time and Spatial Rend on Dialga and Palkia. I've also got my fingers crossed for some Gen 7 stuff in 2022. The Ultra Beast, Solgaleo, and Lunala. But what about you, Chris? What do you think's coming next year?
I'd say the number one thing that I'm hoping for is more signature moves, just like you said. They really do shake up legendaries, especially the lesser ones. I definitely expect Ho-Oh to receive Sacred Fire before the Johto Tour in February, which I'm sure is going to shake up the Master League. And other moves like Magma Storm on Heatran or Shadow Force on Giratina would be awesome to see. And I really do hope that the Alola Pokemon make an appearance this year too. I think June or July during the summer would be a great time to debut this tropical region in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really awesome if those were some of the Ultra bonuses we have next year.
For sure.
Here's hoping for some cool stuff in 2022. But going back to this year, it had some highs, it had some lows, but overall, it was great. And here's hoping for an even better 2022. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's always great to be on.
Anytime. So new year, new TogeTips. We've got some exciting stuff in the works for next year. We've got more analysis videos coming, tons of content for BDSP and Arceus, and we might even do a few collabs as well. So if you're interested in working together, feel free to message us on Instagram or Twitter. That's it for now, so I want to thank you all for a fantastic year, and we can't wait to bring you much more in 2022. So until then, thank you all so much for watching. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you all in the new year. Take care.